Avenues Mastery Academy is a new way to think about education. The goal is to take students that are interested in one specific topic. Here in Shenzhen, that topic is innovation in making.
I applied to this program so I could learn Chinese in an environment where I'm not just learning Chinese, but I'm actually learning about topics that interest me.
This is the first time I've seen 3 different campuses work together. Students from Avenues Sao Paulo and New York, and eventually Avenues Shenzhen, and that's really exciting.
Because we have this new space in Shenzhen, and we thought it would be amazing to bring students, Avenue students from around the world, to help us establish this space here.
This is an engineering challenge in a way. We started off by having students in groups of 3 build printers. That was about 2 to 3 days. Learning happens both in struggle and also by watching experts do their work. Right? And so we leverage both of those at the same time.
We're here for 25 days, people from different places coming together with one specific goal, and I just find that incredible. And also everybody to learn with each other. I think that's a big part. I don't know a lot about coding, and so that was definitely a fear I kind of had before coming here. But with so much help from my peers and teachers, I think I figured that out.
And I think it's time now for us to share some of what we've learned with each other, because you've been so focused on just one printer.
The next 4 days we spent taking those printers apart and making changes to them to have a more fundamental understanding of how some components worked in each specific system and what you could do to change those components. The last 2 weeks have been geared towards 2 final projects. They're designing for a very explicit purpose. The first purpose is to develop a 3D printer that students ages 5 to 10 can use safely in the classroom. 3D printers almost by default are not safe for students to use. So they wanted to design a printer that was safe all around and also was an enjoyable experience for young kids.
So the Jellybox Kids printer is actually a really cool project because it takes an open source project and adapts on it. We've been working with the original creator on how we can adapt the designs.
然后我们会比如说3D 打印机有时候不是合起来的，是封闭的嘛，但是小朋友肯定是很想看那个过程嘛，然后把外壳做成亚克力，就更透明。
One thing that's really appealing about this design is you can see all of the inner workings, and you can actually watch the printer as the belts move and the rods move the carriages up and down. It's very cool as a little kid to see this design that's normally closed off in a 3D printer. And this extruder, rather than printing plastic by heating it up to very high temperatures, actually uses common materials like Play-Doh and creates an object out of a safe material that can be reused and recycled again and printed.
It's really studying a full academic curriculum through the lens of technology. Working with a team of 7 or 8 people on a project of this complexity, that's really hard. It's really hard to coordinate who's working on what in order to be efficient. They actually just now had a huge success where they were able to print a cube using a Play-Doh substance that they created themselves.
The second project is to design a printer that can print large objects efficiently. So they came up with the Hing printer that's behind us. That printer achieves the goal by getting rid of the structure that's on the outside.
Not many Hang printers have been built, and that was one of the things we wanted. When we gave them the Design Brave Challenge, we said, we want you to do something that very few or no one has done before. They really ventured into kind of new territory and took on greater challenges than we expected.
The printer as a whole operates on the principle of having a plate attached to the ceiling with a bunch of motors, and those motors have strings attached to them, and they can pull those strings in or loosen them and reel them out. And by doing this, you can move the print head to different positions throughout the room and make something.
We were doing a lot of coordinate geometry and understanding rotations and position in place. Since a 3D printer is basically like a little robot, the students are getting a really good understanding of mechanics.
the process of taking all these components and putting them on the board and screwing everything together and getting the electronics programmed, all of it has been a week in the making now, and we are approaching the deadline rapidly and still hard at work.
When I finished wiring everything and I turned on and everything worked, it was a really good sensation. I was really happy to see that because I spent hours doing all the wires.
It's the first time Avenues has run a program with students from 3 different countries, all working together. And so the success of these projects is actually also a testament to the success of the students to be able to collaborate across cultures and countries.
This time went by really quickly, and it was great being here. I've learned a lot about myself and how I work with other people as well. I've definitely improved in that over this trip, and I'm very, very happy that that was something I got practice in.
Being in an environment where you're only focused on one thing, it's important to take a step back and take a breather.
This kind of project takes a lot of persistence. So I've seen students deal with a lot of frustration, but I've seen them work really well together and collaborate really effectively.
We accomplished really a lot in such a short time, but we have made it work.
To gain the confidence to do something that seems really hard, you have to learn to push through those moments in order to finish.
当然计划赶不上变化，但是一定要有个计划，这样才能就是有条理的做下去。没有想到是真的就是全部都是自己来一步步的完成，当然会有老师指导，但是就整个过程还是挺神奇的。
I think it's really special that for most of these kids, they're doing all this work in their second language, something that brings them together.
They recognize how passion becomes purpose. So teaching the students these skills early really makes them really powerful adults when they graduate from Avenues. And they have a new limit of what's possible for them.